Hey everyone! I'm back with day 19 of our Tokyo to Hokkaido road trip. We started our day off with breakfast downstairs, and then my host parents gave me some time to explore the town. Akankohan, where a hotel was based, is the only town that sits near Lake Akan and is home to Marimo, spherical-shaped algae that I get more in depth with later in the video. If you're curious to see how we got here all the way from Tokyo, check out the rest of the road trip playlist linked down below. The fresh rainy morning gave the area a mysterious vibe as the rippled waves lapped gently against the dock. A short walk over at a neighboring hotel, I came across a small garden for visitors and guests to enjoy. The towering totem poles with traditional Ainu designs carved into them are indicative of their historical presence in the region. From there, I headed to the main street and strolled down the avenue, taking in all of the specialty shops with wooden figurines of various animals and characters in the windows. While I didn't go inside, I passed by a tsumigi store, which is a dyed fabric made of silk, and is what kimonos are often made of. The main street had a lot of gift shops, much like the ones we'd gone to in Honshu, but because of the cultural distinctions brought on by the Ainu people, there was definitely a different vibe when passing through. Of course, there was no shortage of assortments of plushies, handbags and hats with Ainu designs, as well as the regional staple of the Marimo plant to take home as souvenirs. You could opt to buy just a couple, or if you wanted an entire little community of Marimo, all available in varying sizes. I actually ended up buying one, but had to leave it in Japan because of customs and flying restrictions. Alongside them were jewelry and other necklaces, some of which were carved by hand by local artisans. Once I finished my walk, we met back up for lunch at a nearby restaurant, and then we enjoyed the onsen and infinity pool back at the hotel, both of which were on the top floor. After that, we made our way to the main dock where the sightseeing boats and other excursion vessels were departing from. We only waited for about 10-ish minutes until the next interval, and then boarded a small speedboat that took us across the lake to the Marimo Exhibition and Observation Center. It was my first time in a speedboat, and despite parts of it being a rather bumpy ride, it was so cool to move so quickly across the open water. While en route, we spotted a sightseeing boat probably headed back to the main shore. Due to the boat's speed, it only took about 6 minutes to get to the exhibit that was housed on an island on the north side of the lake. We could see more clearly the Akan Mashu National Park, which is home to active volcanoes and presumed Ainu settlements, many of which were eradicated during the Meiji era due to cultural assimilation. A little Marimo ball greets visitors, pointing them in the direction of the trail to the entrance. The service even had green umbrellas for us to use temporarily on the walk to the exhibit. Once inside, I was immediately drawn to the glass enclosures containing different-sized marimo. By slowly pushing the algae back and forth, this tank mimicked the waves that roll the algae around on the lake floor, which is what largely contributes to their distinctive round shape. It was really mesmerizing to watch. The exhibit also showed the different forms marimo takes on in its lifespan, from microscopic conception to inevitable decay and decomposition. If grown in ideal conditions, they can grow to be up to 20 to 30 centimeters in diameter, which is about a century old. Due to the recent efforts to conserve the special plant, most of the larger marimo you'll find in the world are here in Lake Akan. In one part of the spherical room, the exhibit displayed different shots of marimo in their natural habitat, shown via underwater cameras placed at various locations in and around the lake floor, as well as aerial shots of the lake. Right next to it, they had a more detailed recounting of a marimo's lifespan. To summarize, they essentially begin as little spores that congregate into filaments and continue growing until they form little spheres. As they roll around in the water, they continue to grow in size until their weight prevents them from photosynthesizing effectively, which makes them break down. Fragments of old marimo plants then drift to the surface to begin the process all over again. As our time at the exhibit was nearing its end, we headed back to the speedboat that would take us back to the hotel. The driver made it quite fun for the kids and myself, going into steep turns to angle the boat as we zoomed back to shore. As a group, we quickly perused the gift shop and I learned of Marimokori, the slightly off-putting mascot of the cute algae plant, and I think you can see why. Much like the other shops, more marimo and additional accessories were available for sale, and after accompanying the kids to the hotel's matsuri, or festival, with games and prizes, as well as checking out the game room on the bottom floor, we then headed to the food hall for dinner. Informally known as the soul food of northern Hokkaido, I had Genghis Khan, which is grilled lamb cooked on a special grill like this one. I also found this contactless glove machine cool and interesting to use. After dinner, we walked through the town to the Ainu Theater. Its purpose serves to preserve and pass on ancient Ainu history through performative dance, which is considered a UNESCO intangible cultural heritage. Through iomante, or special ceremonies, the Ainu would send sacrificial offerings to their kamui, or deities, to strengthen their connection to the spiritual realm. We weren't allowed to film, but I've linked some Ainu dances in the description for those interested in viewing. Despite the fading Ainu culture and the decline of naturally occurring marimo, I'm hopeful the continued efforts to preserve the rich history and plant life of the region prove effective. In the meantime, I aim to share what I can from my journey and educate myself and others on such topics. And that concludes day 19 of our road trip. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you'd like to see more of the journey, and comment your thoughts or questions down below. Join us next time as we take one last look around Lake Akan and the Ainu village, then as we visit a few Michi no Ekis, all on our way to Hokkaido's northeastern coast to the sprawling national park of Shiretoko. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.